Sorry. Here we are. Guest starring the Ask Your Dream guy, Bryan Newman. How you been?
It's been a roller coaster, man. How you been? This is
Good.
the first time I've been on a
Why aren't
podcast
you
in
on?
4 months. What's that?
Why have you been on Steven's show lately?
Oh, I had so much scheduling stuff and just life got real crazy. I was trying to get insurance license and do about 4 or 5 other things all at once. And it's just,
Oh,
life got crazy as I just unplugged from everything for a while. So I'm trying to reboot and see what I should do next. I might take a break from ministry for a while and just do my life coaching business and get my insurance license and my English as a second language license and my mental health advocacy certification and get my dream book written. Because
oh.
I
Is
want
it
to
true
go
you
to
got a
outreach too.
PhD?
What's that?
I remember hearing you got a degree.
Oh, I've got a couple degrees. No, I don't have a degree in dream interpretation. I took a class on it, though. I took a class on it through Streams Ministries.
What type of degrees do you have? Like PhDs?
Oh, I wish I did. I should have as much school as I went to, but it was all on different stuff because I'm really ADD. So I have a bachelor's in history, a bachelor's in German, but I don't remember any of the German, and was German studies. And I have a master's degree in human services with an emphasis in marriage and family counseling. And about a year of year of seminary at the master's level, and I was 1 credit short. I was actually 1 point on 1 math test short of getting an associate's degree from the Air Force in human resources because I was in the Air Force for 4 years. So basically, it's a history degree, a German degree, and a human services degree, which is a degree you get on the way to a counseling license. I don't have a counseling license, but it's a lesser degree you can get that covers a lot of the same material. So, yeah, mental health, language, and history is kind of my 3 things. And Bible. Those my 4 things. The Bible, mental health, history, and language. Other than that, I'm pretty useless.
You went to Harvard?
Oh, no. I went to community college, the Air Force, and have a degree from the University of North Carolina in Greensboro, a degree from Lambeth University in Tennessee, and a degree from Liberty University online. And some certifications and stuff. But no, I didn't go anywhere super fancy. I went to language school in Germany for 6 weeks. That's about as fancy as it got.
Wow.
It doesn't really pay the bills like I think it would. What's that?
Claude, he been to Patriot Bible College University. Right, Claude?
No, I haven't. And I wouldn't have any respect. I do appreciate that your dream guy has done a real degree, but unfortunately I don't have a respect for another person who has bought his degrees, but that's a different topic.
Oh, there's a lot of diploma mills too. There's a lot of those out there.
Because I think I heard you once being interviewed. You were on Stephen Boland's channel, and Kent Hovind was on, and you asked him about his degrees, and unfortunately, Boland changed the topic just as you were honing in on the fact that he doesn't really have degrees in science.
Oh, I was I remember asking about that, but I don't know enough about him to even know what degrees he had. I know he's called Dr. Kent Hovind all the time, but like my uncle's a school principal. He was a school vice principal, so he was 2 classes short of being Dr. Dacus, but he never got the full. He didn't take the 2 extra classes. So sometimes you're a school principal, you're a doctor of education. Sometimes you have a science degree. Sometimes you have an education degree, a leadership degree. So I didn't know what his background was. I always assumed he was like a biologist or a geologist or something like that. But I wasn't sure.
No, unfortunately not. And that's the usual practice. When it gets tough, when the questions get tough, and you were doing it just being reasonable, but then Mr. Boland distracts attention from it. So the reality is, Hovind's doctorates, he has bought them all from Patriot Bible University, 3 of them, and he actually has 4 because he bought 3 and got 1 free. And I think it does a disservice to people like yourself who have real degrees. You know, I really do. So it was just such a pity that the conversation got shut down. And I think Stephen has removed that entire broadcast. I'm not sure. If he hasn't, I would like to listen to it.
I haven't checked. If you go to letstalkshalom.com, I had all the episodes that I was on there. I don't know if it would still be up, if it's his link or my link. I don't know. But you can check and see letstalkshalom.com, see if it's up.
Was that on?
Yeah, that's my personal website, my personal websites with all the shows and stuff I've been on. I had a TV show previously and a podcast previously. But it should be, I mean, I don't know if it was my YouTube channel too, or just his, or I don't know how that works. But yeah, I didn't, I just wanted to understand what Logan said about, is it Patriot Bible School, you said?
Yes, Patriot Bible University. And it's a notorious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've never heard of that till before tonight, and I'm not sure if he said where they're from or anything. I was just like, honestly curious about guess what people always ask someone who's got a doctor is like, what did you get your degree in? Where'd you get it? Because I think about doing it one day, and just general curiosity.
Oh well, no, that's good, Bryan, because you're doing it the real way and getting something that's worthwhile.
I should hopefully I should have try to do more. I work for the state, and we get one free class a semester. I've been there 5 years and haven't used it yet. Should have a PhD by now if I'd actually applied myself. Where are you from? You have a slight accent. France. Okay. I was hoping you weren't from Germany, because my German's absolutely terrible.
No,
which region are you from?
Speak to me yeah, I'm from Paris.
Okay, the Parisian accent.
At the moment, I'm living in Australia and New Zealand. So
that's amazing. I've been to Paris, but I've never been to the Australian continent or New Zealand. So New Zealand's supposed to be one of the most beautiful places on earth, and they have all the climates, and it's just amazing. Yeah,
well, when I'm in Australia, it is warmer.
Oh, you're in the winter now, because it's. I'm sorry, you're in the summer. You're in the summer. It's our winter. Your summer.
Yeah. But in Australia, it's quite a bit warmer. But you can never get the perfect place. It gets too hot in summer.
It's like a desert. It's either extremely hot or extremely cold, and there's not a lot in the middle. Awesome. Who else is on here with us? Just us three?
Yeah, so far. Okay. I think you ever heard that lady something Outcast?
I'm not sure.
She's she expert in Egyptians. She says she's going to be on here soon.
Is she the expert in hieroglyphics?
I think Egyptology? So. What is she again called? Do you know? I forgot.
She's an Egyptologist. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but she's interested in the history of the Egypt civilization and possibly hieroglyphics. I see she is in the and she's going to come on as soon as she's eaten her food. Probably.
That's Deviant Outcast on here with the pharaoh. Is that might be Tutankhamun? I'm not sure. No, it's too young. So she's going to correct me in a minute.
Yeah, she can tell us.
Okay.
Archaeologist.
Okay.
Which means she can find arcs. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm interested to know. I know she's an archaeologist, she'll probably know. But Egyptologist would definitely know, because there was a case for a long time that no one knew how to understand ancient Egyptian. Or of course it'd be different throughout the different dialects and periods and regions. But recently someone claimed to have had decoded it so they could actually pronounce everything the way they would have, because in the Hebrew roots movement there's a big dispute about like saying amen is supposedly a bad thing, because Amen Ra was an Egyptian god. I'm like, that's a different language group, different thing entirely. It's called a false cognate. Like in German, bald means soon, and it's nothing to do with your hair. It means soon. Rot, R-O-T, means red. It's not like something went bad. And just because if it was amen or amen in Egyptian, that would be an entirely different word. Like if we say amen after a meal, but it was amen or amen in Egyptian, that's an entirely different pronunciation to begin with. But people in Hebrew roots movement don't really know how language works a lot of times.
You make me
Outcast is here.
crazy. You people make me crazy.
Don't
Why?
tell us anything. So you're an archaeologist.
You can't start talking about this while I'm eating. I had to throw on my headphones. They weren't plugged in, and you kept on talking. And people.
That's how you motivate them.
Yeah,
That's how you motivate
apparently.
people. They have a degree in something, just start talking about it while they're distracted. They'll come right around.
Yeah, and I had a very frustrating discussion with someone a couple of days ago on archaeology, and I'm still not over it. So I'm just
Well, sorry about
bubbling
that.
to
Yeah.
speak to someone who actually.
I understand your pain a little bit. I'm not an Egyptologist or an archaeologist.
No, but you said you had what was it? Masters in history.
I have a bachelor's in history. I have a master's
bachelor's
in human services, emphasis
Oh,
marriage
right.
family counseling. So I wish I got all the same thing, but just even having a bachelor's in history to see these memes and things going around that make no sense at all in any language, in any history, in any culture, and it's just gospel truth because someone put it on a meme.
Yep.
And you can't talk people out of it.
Nope.
And it's very frustrating.
That's exactly it. It was when someone tries to tell you. So I should preface saying I have a master's degree in Egyptology and a master's degree in archaeology.
So you have a dual masters.
Yes, but they kind of
overlap.
I don't know if they still do this, but this was like 20 years ago or more. No, it wasn't. It was recently. Where the what's the English word? You know, you have the subject that you're going to be doing your degree in,
like a major.
Yeah, and then you have these supporting subjects that you also
take. You have if you have a bachelor's degree, you have a major. You can also have a minor or an emphasis. I think if you have a master's degree, instead of saying a minor, they call it an emphasis.
Okay, because we could like have not 10. Well, basically, they only counted the amount of university credits. So you could basically have like take this really small, like quarter of a semester courses and build, but that would be kind of pointless because you need of course subjects that are
extensive. But my master's was a 30-hour master's, and it was online for 8-week semesters. So I was kind of those people feeling it. I technically have a master's. I don't talk about it a lot because it's a 30-hour master's. It's not like a 60-hour master's or 90-hour master's where you've done practicums and these things. I want to do that eventually.
But you speak in hours. That confuses.
The American system. So I went to school in Germany for a little while, Technical University of Dresden, as an exchange student, and it's a whole other system. They have a shine, which is a piece of paper that says you took the class.
Right.
But here they call them. There's quarter hours and semester hours in America, and it's extremely confusing.
Okay.
It's like a 2-year master's, a 1 to 2 year master's. So some of them have double that time, and some of them take 4 or 5 years because you have to work for free for a year and study under someone and take these huge exams from the government, not just the school, and these kind of things.
Yeah, right.
So mine was one of the, I guess, the easier masters. Okay. So you have Egyptology and archaeology.
Yes. I've never worked as an Egyptologist. I was going to switch. The reason I started doing archaeology was because I realized back then there were like 2.5 employment opportunities in Sweden where I'm at. in total. So it was like you either had to go and do a PhD, which I would have loved to do, but it wasn't. I couldn't.
Wasn't practical.
No, and there were health stuff, and also what am I going to do with that PhD? And you realize after a couple of years that even though higher education is all education rather is free, you still have to support yourself. So you still take like a student loan, but you have to pay back.
And live on loans.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So you realize that you need, when you come out of there, I did 6 years, and I was lucky because I got my student loan written off.
Forgiven, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm in early retirement, so there's. Yeah,
we have something similar here. If you have a certain disability rating, you can get your loans forgiven. And it's a similar problem because in America, you either have a PhD, some fields, you either have a PhD, or you can just teach high school, which pays almost nothing. So you have a master's or anything in the middle between being a high school teacher, a bachelor's degree with a license, or a PhD, then it's very hard to find a job in that middle time. You can only work as like a graduate assistant. And then when you find a job, you probably have to, hey, Ryan, you have to move across the world or across the country to find a job.
Oh, my goodness.
Because the spots are so few, especially in American universities. Like Egyptology is not taught as much as it would be in Europe.
No, but I mean, of course, Sweden is a small country. I actually found out just not this year, but last year, that there are actually, oh God, I can't remember, 1 or 2 other universities than the one I went to that offer courses and even programs in Egyptology. And when I went, that was it. There was only one. So there are more, and I would still say the US is quite prominent within Egyptology. I mean, you have the what's it called? There's a research institute in Cairo that's US based, or
Yeah, we do have a lot more schools because of the population.
Yeah, right.
You just have to go to like a bigger school like Harvard or Yale to find an Egyptology major. I grew up close to Memphis, Tennessee, and Memphis, Tennessee is, of course, modeled after Memphis, Egypt.
King, home of the king.
Okay.
Elvis Presley.
Yeah, home of the king, Elvis Presley. So they have the Mississippi River is very much like similar to the Nile, but they built the Memphis Pyramid, this giant pyramid next to the river that is a basketball court, is a basketball stadium, but it's a pyramid, it's a huge pyramid. And the Memphis Zoo is covered in hieroglyphs.
Oh.
Because they made the whole theme of the city Memphis, like Memphis, Egypt. So there's a giant pyramid you can see from the sky. Or you can see like it's miles and miles away. It's huge. I've been inside it. And the Memphis Zoo is covered in hieroglyphs. The whole theme of the city is very Memphis. And I think University of Memphis has a lot of Egyptology stuff.
It was. I've actually always wondered about the U.S. Memphis and whether there were a connection, but I never spoken to anyone that I know was from there. And
I grew up about 2 hours from there, but it's the closest entertainment, and I joined the military there. But yes, the Pink Palace is there. Graceland, where Elvis Presley lived at. My grandmother worked at Sun Studios, where Elvis recorded.
Oh,
And he bought my Aunt Diana an ice cream cone when she was 4 years old. He picked her up on the counter at a pharmacy and bought her an ice cream cone. And he would go around Memphis on a weekend and to the car lots on Saturdays, and he would see someone looking at a car they couldn't afford. He would just buy them a car.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories. My my parents were huge fans. You know, they're born in the middle of the 40s, 1940s. So it's the perfect timing for them. So I listened to a lot of Elvis. I actually think my first LP, and could be my only LP, was Elvis.
Oh, he's still very famous. People still
come
from all over the world to go there. They made a movie recently about him with Tom Hanks. As his promoter. Tom Hanks played the man who promoted Elvis.
Yeah, right. I know his name. Sam? No.
Something Colonel somebody.
There it is.
I think, was it Colonel Tom or Colonel
Colonel? No. Not Tom.
Colonel something.
I wanted to be on S.
Yeah, it might have been Sam something.
Yeah, that was the first name that popped up, but I do not trust my brain because it's a lying little.
Let me look it up for you.
Colonel Parker.
Parker.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Colonel Tom
EBM
Parker.
to the rescue.
Yeah, Tom Parker. Yeah, I thought it was
Colonel Tom Parker.
Tom. Okay, Tom Parker. Yeah. Tom Parker.
Since you're an Egyptology specialist, I do dream interpretation. I'm writing a book on it, on biblical dream interpretation. Yeah. And I understand, of course, the Egyptians had the Necronomicon, but I heard they had the whole. That's inaccurate.
When you say Necronomicon, do you actually mean Necronomicon, or do you mean what's known as the Book of the Dead? Because the Necronomicon was invented by Lovecraft.
I mean, the archaeological Book of the Dead.
Yeah, you mean book of the Dead.
Actual historical archaeological.
Yeah,
as the Egyptians used. Not the pop culture.
No.
One, the archaeological.
I was very shocked when you said that, because I mean, you're obviously educated, but people have their pitfalls, and you were talking about There
was a horror movie going around about that, like in the 80s, I think.
Right. I know.
Where the guy with the chainsaw for an arm or something. They Americanized it.
No, the Book of the Dead. It's known as its actual name is Going Forth by Day.
Oh wow, Going Forth by Day.
Yeah, but everyone refers to it as the Book of the Dead, and everyone knows it as the Book of the Dead.
And I think there's in Thailand or China, there's the I Ching and some other books. So one of those is also called the Book of the Dead, but it's a completely different thing.
They're from many various cultures, ancient cultures have different kinds of. So it's kind of a standard name. I mean, it got the name because it was found. Yeah, right. Exactly.
So, and one of the dream interpretation class I went to, they talked a lot about Joseph in Egypt, and he was a dream interpreter. And for them, it would sound totally for Americans in the 21st century, it would sound totally insane. Hey, we let this guy out of prison, and we're going to let him run the entire country now because he interpreted the president's dream.
Yeah.
Well, that would be totally crazy to Americans after Freud and Jung and all this stuff. But they were saying to ancient Egyptians, that wouldn't be so shocking because they value dreams so highly. And they were saying that Egyptians had like whole universities about dreams and whole schools about it. And there was an occupation for them, was interpreting dreams.
No.
I didn't know that was accurate. I want to make sure before I put it in a book.
Yeah. I'm extremely thankful because half of it is true and half of it's not. So
this is a Christian culture kind of spices things up for sermons and things.
Of course, it sounds better and it gets people enthusiastic and drawn in. But yes, it's true that dreams were like this. People, everyone dreams. We know that, and to the Egyptians, it wasn't like some people could have these prophetic dreams and others do not. Instead, they view every dream as foretelling or some kind of what's
something
the word?
Spiritual. It wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
right.
As we say in America, a pizza dream. There was no such thing as a pizza dream.
No. So that part's 100%. It was very important in that aspect. But they did not have like, you weren't, this is my job, I'm a dream interpreter. That's not. The Egyptians are very funny that way. They're kind of, how should I say this?
Elitist.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So elitist. Extremely.
The technocrats as well. There's a class of engineers, and they're like above everyone else because they're engineers.
I would say, yeah, technocrats, but at the same time they have a god king, you know.
Yeah, they have a priest. The priest and the engineers kind of ran the world. I guess the priest, the engineers, and the military.
Yeah, the priests and the military primarily. The military being able, thanks to I'm gonna come back to the dream thing, but thanks to the positioning of Egypt with the Nile running straight through and this desert on each side, they are very protected. So they only have people can only attack them either from the Mediterranean or from the south, from Nubia.
Sudan.
Yeah, today Sudan, right? I'm not great at geography. So
that's right. You probably speak 4 or 5 languages. We're impressed already.
I don't, but I wish I did. Yeah. So they sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No. So
yeah. Can you hear me?
Hello, Gangster.
Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Who is speaking other than Ask Your Dream Guys? I hear.
Mrs. Outcast.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Deviant Outcast, she's speaking.
She has an archaeology master's and an Egyptology master's.
Okay.
And I'm writing a dream book, so she's a resident expert on Joseph and all that whole culture of dreams.
Wow. How you been, Mrs. Outcast?
Right now I'm splendid.
Oh, that's
because we're talking about Egypt, or I am.
So we're very excited to hear it and get. I've been delayed in writing this book for like a year, so that's probably why, because I would have put a bunch of bad information in it if we hadn't had this conversation.
Yeah.
So you're kind of saving my reputation here. So the Nubians are the it's hard to say Sunnis, but the area of Sudan, people come up through there to attack the. Well, I guess that'd be the northern and the upper Egypt for them.
The other way around.
Or
The-
the Philistines from the Mediterranean, or the sea people.
Yeah, when that time came. So which is much later. Egypt was unified around, give or take a couple of hundred. It's always difficult, but wait, I have to rethink the centuries. 33rd century, so 3,300 years BCE.
Oh wow!
And the reason was, you have heard about Narmer, I guess, or yes, no. I never know how much people know about these things, and I don't want to.
About who was it?
Narmer, the Narmer palette. Have you heard about Narmer palette?
Is that a person or an event?
No, it is a Narmer was the unifying king of Egypt.
Okay.
And we have this artifact. It's like about 50 centimeters. So what's that?
4 feet.
Is it 4 feet?
No, that'd be half a meter.
Yeah, 50 centimeters is half meter.
Okay, so that's about 1.5 feet. It's not super tall.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
I'm bad at math. I'm very bad at math.
I shouldn't be, but I am when it comes to feet and inches.
Oh, it's insane. It makes no sense to us either. Well, we do this. No, I don't know.
Finally, someone who agrees with me. Baffles the mind. But it's a ceremonial makeup palette, and not palette like with different colors, but to prepare the makeup on.
Like a painter, you would mix them together, the color, the pigments.
Right, exactly. And it was probably used within the temple context. But it shows it's a commemorative palette of the unification.
Oh, okay.
Of Egypt.
So they made a piece of art as a memorial.
Yeah, to show the greatness, basically.
Of course.
And it's much more complicated than that. But I'm trying to not get too far away from the dream thing, because I would regret it later if I left you without that answer. But it's more complicated because there is this idea in Egyptian thought about pictures and words basically becoming real. It's
they're magic.
One has to, exactly. It's an extremely magical world, and it's an extremely religious world where every action can potentially have several. You can write the grocery list, or like you're leaving your dirty clothing to the launderer, and they write your receipt, like 1 loincloth, 2 loincloths, 1 headdress, even more loincloth. And that's just a laundry list. But words also can become real or are real via magic. So, and here's actually where we come into the dream thing, the dream interpretation thing, about every dream has a magical
spiritual source.
Yeah, and the magical is it connotation to it. And whether or not, I mean, it's not that people go around and or was, I'm speaking as if it's now, it's not. I have to remind myself. No, I'm joking. If you have a problem, if you are you're ill or something goes wrong, or you are you want to you're going to buy some land from someone, or they didn't have money. It was a what's the word, barter economy for the longest period of time, almost all of it actually. You needed some sort of, what do I do in this situation? Should I marry this person or buy this piece of land or whatever it is?
You need some guidance.
Sorry?
Guidance. You need some guidance.
Thank you. Then you want to know what your dreams mean, because you can get guidance. So I try to not ramble on. Deviant, do not ramble. I have like a billion thoughts in my head, and this always happens when we.
And they're hard to sort when you have to translate. It's.
Yeah. Oh yes, this it was this the dream interpretation schools. It was actually done by the priests in the temples.
Okay, so you had to go to a recognized priest.
Yeah.
In the caste system, you couldn't just ask your friend.
No.
A poor person couldn't take a class on it or buy a book on it. You had to be born into the priesthood and go to the priest.
Yeah.
Kind of like Catholicism. Somewhere you can't just show up and take confession. You have to go to the guy in the black robe.
Yes.
Okay.
And the priests had, it was funny you should say you couldn't buy a book, because that was basically what they used. It wasn't that these priests had some special. Being a priest was a job. It had nothing to do with your own like spiritual or religious convictions. It was a job.
It's just part of the government, maintaining the government.
Exactly. Their main purpose was to be stand-ins for the pharaoh, the king. The belief was that the only one who could have direct contact with the gods was the pharaoh, because he was. I don't want to say he wasn't divine. He was in some periods of time, but anyway,
he was the image bearer.
Yeah,
as the Hebrews might say, the imago Dei. He was the image bearer of the gods to the people. He represented the gods to the people.
Yeah,
and
but
the people to God.
Exactly, but he was even more than that, because when he died, he became a god. He became part of this celestial pantheon that once were thought to have been here on Earth.
So do they believe he was born a god, or they believe he was a man, and then after he's pharaoh, he gets to become a god? Like in the Greek mythology, if you were some kind of hero, you might be born a human, but they really liked you, You did some fantastic feat.
Yeah,
But then after you die, you become a star or something.
right.
You become a divine being.
Well, there's an issue here with Egypt, which also is one of the things I love about it. It goes on for such a long period of time. There is no other nation, no other culture in human history who's been so, I was going to say long-winded. I'm the long-winded one. Okay. Pervasive?
Yeah, pervasive. It so much influence, and it's one of the few that lasted.
Yeah.
Well, as a nation, like the Jews have been probably one of the longest lasting nonstop. But as far as a nation, as an empire, it was the longest lasting. Like Assyria is only like 200 years. Rome's like 400 or 500 years.
Like
Greece didn't last that long compared to the Egypt.
Not even close. None of them.
None of them lasted 1,000 years.
Exactly.
Except Egypt.
And Egypt held on for almost 4,000. And that's not including the 2,000 since the Romans came and destroyed everything for real. But yeah, oh yes, the pharaoh and the gods. In certain periods of time, the king was actually seen as a god living on earth. And he was always sort of divine, but he couldn't, prior to death, he couldn't traverse the physical realm and go into this celestial divine.
He was stuck in his body.
Yeah, but once you, oh my goodness, there are so many pieces to this. And I want to tell it all, but it's kind of difficult. And
so the priest as an occupation, it was more of a practical thing.
Yes.
Like in the American church, you have to have some special skill set.
Yeah.
With the priest of Egypt, it was like any other occupation. You just went and did your ritual and went home.
100% that. And the son inherited the father's position. The daughter inherited the mother, etc. So, which of course creates this extremely powerful and influential, beyond what I think we really can fathom, class of people, the priesthood, because the temples were extremely wealthy. And just imagine a temple like the Karnak temple in modern day Luxor in Egypt. It's a temple complex that it's larger than any city in the rest of the world at the time.
It's not comprehensible to
modern
people, even ancient people. Just something could be that big.
Exactly. It's absolutely massive once you reach like the picture. I don't know why it's not visible now, but my avatar. You talked about it before I had.
Oh yeah, it was looked like one of the pharaohs, but
yeah,
I'm not educated enough to know which one.
It's Hatshepsut.
Okay.
She's the.
And she had the goatee on because that's what the female pharaohs
exactly
did.
the divine royal beard. Just that little detail. A divine beard. I mean, it's I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, so she was. There were no word for queen in Egypt. You were the royal wife, or you were the great royal wife, or you were like a concubine. But if you were married to the king, you were, and there were only one great royal wife, except with Ramesses the fifth, I think. I think it was the fifth, the number 5. He couldn't choose, and so there was a conspiracy in the harem, and he was murdered. So you better choose, or it's gonna end bad.
Well, that happens to a lot of men. Yeah, can't make up their mind.
Right.
Oh,
Especially the ones that
Egypt.
wear the gold chains and have the gold rims in their vehicle. As then as today.
Have any of the mummies come back alive and hunt people?
What did you say, Logan?
Had any of the mummies come back to life?
No, they are very much very dead.
A lot of them are in paintings all around the world.
Sorry, what?
I was talking about Mummy Brown, when the Victorians
Oh, yeah,
would
right.
take mummies, take poor people and
Mortum.
kill them, and then make paint out of their body.
Oh my goodness, the things they did to mummies.
I read about some of that, like the if you were pretty, the family would just make sure your body was in bad shape before they let the priest go near you.
Oh no, I'm talking about what they did in modern time.
Oh, in modern times, yeah.
Yeah.
They put it in like some kind of vitamin powder.
Oh yes.
And magic stuff, and made paint out of it.
Paint.
And everyone says they didn't use it, but they do.
Rich
I had a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, the rich Englishmen could buy a mummy, and they had a mummy unwrapping party.
Oh yeah.
And then they
like as entertainment. Let's just dig your grave up and take your suit off and just stare at you.
And then they had this mummy because they smell very good. They're very there's a lot of ointments and
herbs and things.
Herbs,
yeah,
yes.
very
So
expensive
they smell really good actually.
And they wonder why they had all the dysentery and scarlet fever.
Right.
I like a tour keeping Christians. I'm like, if it's dead, don't touch it. I said don't touch it for a reason. It's unclean. Don't go there. So there was this concept. I had a ancient Near Eastern history class.
Yeah.
Near Memphis. I think my professor actually went to the University of Memphis. And he loved Egyptology, and he was saying like there's a concept called Ba or Bay. I don't know how to say it because I don't know any of my ancient Egyptian. Ba. So we're basically, you take like a statue or some kind of inanimate object, and you do an incantation, and you basically invite a spirit to live in it, or you animate it. It's kind of like putting a battery in it, but on the spiritual side, like you make your Frankenstein monster. But instead of using electricity, you just do this incantation. And I think the Babylonians called it a golem, where they put a sign on its head, and then they, get a spirit to inhabit this object. Or like you have an object of worship, there's nothing in it, but you invoke this god to go inside, live inside the object. I don't know if that's accurate or if I'm totally misunderstanding how that works.
This one is even more. It's not completely wrong, but it's a huge. There are significant issues that leads the mind in the completely wrong direction.
Is it an oversimplification?
Yes, and a conflation with with modern ideas about demon possession and that sort of thing, and the occult.
And that's why I was asking, because a lot of Christians, like Derek Prince was a preacher who put a lot of sermons out about haunted objects.
Yeah.
And the charismatic Christian community has very much this concept that well, if you buy this watch from a thrift store, there might be a demon attached to it or in it, because the person who owned it might have been a witch, and
The
she
Jehovah's
would have put some
Witnesses are
in it, and
very
now
nice.
you're stuck with this demon in your house, like a magic lamp. There's a djinn inside.
Right. I heard about that from an ex Jehovah's Witness. He's on YouTube. Who talked about this exactly with a thrift store, like inviting, and that's not at all. So the human body in in Egyptian thought consisted of five parts. So we today say we just talk about the soul. For the Egyptians, so we say you have the body and you have the soul, or you have the body, mind, and soul, or you don't have a soul and just the body and the mind. Either way, the Egyptians had 5 parts. The Ren, and this is just the spiritual or non-physical aspects. The Ren is the name. It's spelled RN, but in oh my god, I
that's a syllable to them. This RN in their language. It's a whole word.
Exactly, RN, and it's the name, the person's name. So the name is part of your spiritual being.
It's your identity. It's who you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's hugely important. Then you have the shadow. You have the K-A. The Ka is a so there's this idea about being molded on a potter's wheel, potter's wheel, where there are 2. So it's your spiritual double. It looks like you. It's your Ka.
It's like almost like your ghost or your spirit.
Yeah.
That and like in Plato's philosophy, and also in scripture, like we'll talk about. There's a physical reality, and there's which is just a shadow. It's a lesser version of a
shadow
real thing in the spirit world somewhere.
Yes.
And the spirit world is more real. This down here is just like a model replica.
Yeah, that's I don't know the word in English, I realize.
I don't think we even have a word for it in English, because English is such a non-spiritual language. We just don't have words for these things. We just kind of describe it with a whole paragraph. But like Hebrew or Greek or especially Japanese might have something, but in English it's all technology words. It's kind of boring.
That was a new take. They never taught us that in school. On the other hand, there were a lot of things they didn't taught us in school about English. I found out later, like the word siblings. We were taught there were no word in English for sibling. So they lied.
For siblings?
Yeah, siblings, like brother and sister.
Oh, wow, there's no word like brother or sister? That's interesting.
Yeah.
But, in language contains so much of a worldview. Like in German, you don't go to a hospital, you go to a Krankenhaus. You go to a sick house.
Yes.
A Krankenhaus. See how bad my German is. A Krankenhaus. And you don't have Gesundheitsversicherung, health insurance. Americans say health insurance.
Yeah.
Because we're uber positive. We're just
over
the top positive. And they have Krankenhausversicherung. They have sick insurance. Americans have health insurance. Germans have sick insurance. So you see the worldviews and the language. And like Egyptian is such a spiritual language.
Oh, yes.
You have 5 parts. You have your identity is separate from your from your ghost, and these other things are
and your
separate.
shadow is in itself an entity and a part of you. So, and the ka is what's usually referred to as, like if you watch some pop documentary about ancient Egypt, it's often referred to as just the soul, because it's the easiest way to describe it. But to
Americans, it's oversimplified.
You said it, not me.
It's hard to get educated unless you realize how uneducated you are.
I couldn't say it better myself. 100%.
It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yes.
The less you know about something, the more you think you're an expert. And the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything.
Oh, and then you learn how the memory works, and you realize you're basically done for.
You misremembered the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or you were taught wrong the whole time.
Yeah.
So you have their soul is separate from their identity, is separate from their ghosts, is separate from their shadow. So it's in the Western world didn't really come back to that thought until like Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud. Freud's got the id, the ego, superego, and Jung's got these archetypes.
Yeah.
But it was like the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s before that came about.
It's not even like I think it's hard for us today to really get a concept of, because we are all so tied into our own context. So it is, I mean, it's difficult for me, and of course we don't know we weren't inside their heads, even though we have so much knowledge, and Egypt is such it's such a giving civilization in that aspect.
So many records.
Yes. So
despite everything that got burnt down.
Oh yes.
And thank God for the Rosetta Stone, but but still, this is so against our context. It's like trying to explain a microchip to some villager in Papua New Guinea who's never seen a car before, and you're trying to explain a microchip. There's just not the vocabulary or the experience there to grasp it.
Yes. This is so cathartic. I was so upset about this conversation I had the other day that I never got through to the guy, and I never.
This is the redeeming moment. Yes. You can be balanced again.
Yeah.
Oh, was that Dustin?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry about that.
So there's different parts of the spirit man to the Egyptians. Like the Greeks had the humors, and the Egyptians had these aspects of spirit man. Yeah. Which part of the spirit man is connecting to the spirit world when you dream? Is that basically your identities floating around in the spirit world, and it's just telling your brain and your body what it's getting? Or
here we come into the two that are left, and that's the Ba and the Ak.
Okay.
Ba is spelled B-A-H, and Ak is A-K-H. Just
like Akhenaten.
Okay. But it's another word. They are not connected. They are not connected. But
it's just like the same concept.
Yes, the spelling in English is exactly the same. The Ak is not part of you while you are alive.
Okay. Is it floating around separate from you in the spirit world? Or does it not exist until you die?
Basically, I'd say it doesn't exist until you die. It's created with the successful unification of the ka and the ba.
Mm.
And that's what the whole Book of the Dead is really about. To transcend into the spiritual realm and the Sea of Reeds.
The Yom Suf? Or that's Hebrew, never mind.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, so there's a Sea of Reeds. Is it like Greek mythology where you get on you basically got to have some way of some merit to pay your way across?
You needed to know there were many things because you needed your physical body on the other side, which already starts to be a bit weird for our way of thinking, or what we are used to.
So your spiritual. I see. Your Christianity has some terms for that, but your spiritual is your body, like your physical body here.
Yeah.
And then there's your doppelganger, your mirror image.
Yeah.
It's like you're looking at yourself in the mirror. Here's you in the physical world, and there's a you in the mirror, and the you in the mirror has to get there. Like if you're playing a video game, your avatar has to get there.
Yeah. That's a good way of maybe conceptualize it. Because you have the two main parts. So the shadow basically, I can actually not. The shadow is very seldom spoken about. I don't know why. And when I say spoken about that, I don't just mean like by scholars today. There isn't a huge amount of information about it. It's not really discussed at any depths or lengths within the Book of Dead.
The field within the everyday life of the Egyptians, the text. So does it have a negative context? Is it like a scary thing?
No.
They didn't want to. We don't talk about. Or what is that movie? That Disney movie. We don't talk about the kid that disappeared in that one Encanto movie. They're afraid to say it. It's like Freddy Krueger or Beetlejuice. They're just afraid to
say it. I start to think about Blackadder. Not Henry, but Macbeth. Don't mention Macbeth. No, it's not. It's not like that at all. The Egyptian had a very interesting relationship to the whole. We are so brought up to be afraid of the unknown, to fear spirits and ghosts and these things you can't see that lurk in the dark, etc. The Egyptians, not at all. For example, we have records of a widow writing to her deceased husband, like a letter, complaining, like, I have been giving you offerings all week and you still have done nothing for me.
Oh goodness. So it's like it's a lot of necromancy, is what we would say in America. There's a lot of necromancy, and And it's not like the psychic network stuff where it's some unusual, strange,
No, it's completely
mystical
normal.
event. It was just their everyday life was talking to the dead people.
Yes,
It
nothing
was
strange
like
about it.
calling customer service. It wasn't a strange, unique
Nope,
experience to them.
exactly. And which
The
is
psychic?
no, not really a psychic. You could, anyone could. You couldn't talk to them like you left
You
off.
talk to them the transactions.
Exactly.
It's like going to the ATM machine at the bank. You
Yeah.
don't talk to it, but you put money into it and you hope you get something. You put money in and you hope you get something back.
Yes.
You don't communicate. It's an exchange of this for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bartering. You're bartering with the spirit world.
Basically, yes. You and it's also, of course, it's important to you can't live on the other side. The Egyptian afterlife is exactly this life, but so much better.
So you would die, or you would
you wouldn't
you would wither up.
but
In the afterlife, you would grow weak if you weren't fed, or if you weren't remembered. If you weren't remembered and honored and respected,
you would
that's
die.
your food there.
That would
And
be a second.
You get weak without it.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. If you weren't remembered in the here and now, in here on Earth, you would die it would be a second death.
You will be like a permanent perishing. So you basically get removed from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a book called The Bible Among the Myths, where this guy John Oswalt in seminary, he had a book in seminary. He talks about how Yahweh in the Hebrew world was so different from the other religions. Like Yahweh wasn't going to starve to death if you didn't worship him, honor him. It didn't make him weak. It didn't make him vulnerable to the other spirits out there.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't dependent on it like the Egyptian spirit world was. There's a Freddy Krueger movie. They made a horror movie about it called Dream Warriors, where Freddy Krueger was able to appear in people's dreams and kill them because they were afraid, and he was strengthened by their fear. But when no one was afraid of him anymore, it made him really weak. And they could defeat him because no one was afraid anymore. And how they eventually killed him was they blotted out his name. So they took his memory away.
That's
they took all the
extremely
newspapers and stuff.
That's very Egyptian.
I remember that thing, and we had a class. Oh, that's what happened. They blotted out his name, and if you did something stupid or they really hated you in Egypt, they just took your name off everything.
Yep.
So when you get to the spirit world, you're gonna get beat up left and right because you have no power because no one's remembering you. You have no strength, and then you're just getting beat up like a new kid in prison.
And you can no longer unite the Ka, the Ba, and the Ak. So once you are dead, the Ka, that's what we've called the soul or the spiritual double. The Ka becomes the physical representation.
Oh, that's your avatar. That's you. That's you in the game.
100%. So you have these Ka statues of the person, and of kings, of course. A king could, after death, inhabit, and in life too, actually, inhabit any statue as long as it had their name and somewhat their liking. But come on, they stole each other's statues like nobody's business, because it's the name of the game. Very competitive from time to time, but that's why they are the best. So
you serious?
Sorry, what did you say, Logan?
I'm just saying, you're serious?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, call's back.
Oh.
I called.
Yeah.
Logan, am I like taking over your? I'm just babbling on.
No.
I think it's good on dreams, but since it's very hard for us to understand dreams being modern Westerners. because we have this hyper charismatic view that's very loosely informed by a lot of things, or we have this psychological view that's informed 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But how the ancient world looked at dreams, that's how we would understand a lot of dreams, because the Bible is like a fourth of the Bible is based on a dream or a vision.
Right.
But we have no concept of how ancient peoples viewed dreams and visions and what their world was like.
Yeah.
How seriously people took dreams and visions, and
Bryan.
so we have to really, I think, grasp that to understand a lot of the Bible's context, like especially Joseph in Egypt.
Yeah, that's
his whole world was, they took dreams very seriously.
Indeed.
Oh, Bryan. Oh, sorry. Bryan. Brother Pike has a question. He said, I dream about being awake. Interpret that.
You probably should. You're about to be late for work, buddy. If you ever have to use the bathroom in the dream, don't do it. But
true.
Also, there's some things you're not aware of yet. You need to ask God to show you things you're not aware of, things you're not really cognizant of, and it might break your traditions.
Dream guy. I have had a dream before. It was a weird dream where it was like
all of them are weird, buddy.
grocery store, and had a little Claude and a little Miss and Maud there, and they're going through the grocery, like what's it called, checkout. He said, "No, I can't afford the high life."
I didn't catch all that. What was it?
It was a weird dream where Claude right there. There's like a little Claude ball and Miss and Maud. You ever heard of her, Miss and Maud?
Steph, I know Steph
weird.
a little bit, but I didn't know what was a claw.
Claude, who's with
Claude,
us in.
Yeah, there's a little him and a little her.
Oh, Claude, the guy, the person. I got you.
Yeah, they're going for the checking account, and he said, "I can't afford that" or something. It was a weird dream.
He couldn't afford it, or she couldn't afford it.
Yeah, afford stuff. I don't remember what. It was weird.
He might not be able to make the sacrifices he would need to make to obtain something she had, probably some information or knowledge. Yeah, it happens. But like Joseph and Moses and so many people, Daniel in the Bible in the ancient Near East had dreams and visions, and it's really helpful to understand that culture, and all of them were based upon Egyptian culture. It's like even Daniel's in Babylon and Persia, that's still based upon Egyptian culture, and if you understand Egyptian culture, you can understand the world he was in.
Egypt was the first nation state in all of human history. So the neighboring, even though if we had an Assyriologist here now, there would be a fight between the two of us. Who's first? Who's the best? But the thing is that even though you have these early civilizations around the Euphrates and the Tigris rivers, they are not what's the word?
Organized.
Yeah, they're not unified. They are not. They are different, smaller fractions that varies between each other in culture and maybe not language, but somewhat. But Egypt is this giant, massive nation that's extremely wealthy. There is always food thanks to the Nile, thanks to the inundation of the Nile. That's cyclical, comes like clockwork. And if it doesn't, there's a huge problem. And some priest is going to be in deep caca because the god has not been given their due.
No.
So that's like, well, in the Exodus story, all these priests the priest of the Nile couldn't turn it back to water.
Mm.
The priest of Hek, the frog goddess, couldn't put the frogs back in the river. The priest of Nut couldn't make the sky come back. It is a systematic attack on the gods of Egypt.
Yes.
And they had all the priests, like Dr. Michael Heiser has a book called The Unseen Realm.
Mm-hmm.
It's restoring a supernatural view of the Old Testament. So he takes the Old Testament and looks at the spiritual worldview the people had at the time.
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, the priests had lice. If you have lice, you can't serve your gods, and they'll starve to death.
Yeah.
Because you have lice, and you can't have lice and go in the temple.
And that doesn't work.
They shave their whole body.
I will tell you this little tiny tidbit of knowledge because of what you just said. The word in ancient Egyptian for priest is wab. Wab.
Mm-hmm. Walla?
Like W-A-B. But it's like an O sound in the beginning, like wab.
A wall. Okay.
With a
we don't have that in English.
No. So and the hieroglyph is the lower part of a leg with the foot.
Mm-hmm.
On top of it balances a jug that's lying down on its side, and the water is pouring out.
Oh, it controls the Nile.
It means like purification.
Oh, okay.
It cleans. It cleans. So that's.
I see.
And wab, it's the same word for priest and purification.
So they had to be clean at all times.
Yes.
Almost like a Levite priest had to be clean at all times.
Yes, that's why.
And if they're got contagion or something, skin disease, they can't.
Exactly. No way you can you can't enter the inner parts of the temple. Maybe you are not even allowed within the outer wall. The regular people, you didn't. It wasn't like you go to church or to the Jewish temple or a mosque or anything like that. There were no sermons. There were very secretive, very select few people had access to the inner sanctum, because the temple wasn't a place. It was, of course, a place to show what's the word?
Veneration.
Thank you, veneration.
So it wasn't a place to socialize.
It was not the place to socialize. It was the god's home. They lived there. They had in the temple of Amun, that's Karnak in Luxor. There was a statue, wooden, gilded, of the god Amun. And each morning he had like a little shrine, gilded shrine with this amazing elaborative decorations with the precious stones and lapis lazuli and garnets and all of this. And that
they had to bring that from Afghanistan, so that's the lapis lazuli from Afghanistan. That's extremely expensive.
Yeah, extremely expensive, and very sought after in Egypt. So he lives inside this shrine, and each morning he is awakened with a magic, not a magical ritual, but a religious ritual, and he is presented food and sweet smells and music, and there are ladies dancing and entertaining him, and he is being dressed, and he's being
like he's physically there.
Exactly.
And in the Mexican culture, when you're 15 or 16, you either have to go on patrol like a night watch, like a police force, or you have to work in the church and you take the statue of Mary and you do the same, you either dress it and this whole thing.
Oh,
Exactly like that. Still in Mexico in the rural parts, when you're a teenage boy, that's your job. Work at the church and take care of the statue of Mary or the Queen of Heaven, or Ashtoreth, that's what they used to call her, Semiramis, before they changed the name. Or you went on patrol, but they still do that same thing. They just do it to a statue of Mary.
oh, that's really interesting. I've never heard that before. That's really interesting. And that goes on
So,
Bryan,
quick interject with Jeremiah chapter 10. It talks about, a lot of people think it's a Christmas tree, but it's probably not. Where it talks about taking a piece of wood and hammering gold to it and fixing it in place.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that statue, like the Israelites were trying to replicate that statue. They take a piece of wood and they gold plate it and they decorate it and then they worship it.
Yeah.
So it sounds very similar to like you said, a gilded piece of wood.
Mm-hmm.
But so thank you for sharing that. It answers a lot of people's questions. I think that I know that are very trying to interpret that verse. But keep going. That's fascinating.
I mean, Faithful had a question: which culture is the older, Greece or Egypt? And it is Egypt by a landslide.
She's a little biased.
I am, but it's also true.
Awesome.
You think you've been to Egypt?
Once. It was mind-blowing and unreal and like home at the same time.
Wow.
Because I know it so well.
Is.
I've seen every single site we went to. I've seen it 1,000 times. And to be there in person, it took me, I was only in Egypt for a week. And it wasn't until like the last full day or so, maybe the day before that I started to realize that I was actually there, that I could put my hand on these amazing statues and temple remnants, and I just want to go back. I just want to go back someday.
So there's a verse where it says that it's the glory of a God to conceal a matter, and it's the glory of the king to search it out. And it's like Solomon did a lot of exploring and learning, but there's sometimes someone's assigned to learn about something hidden, something ancient, something mysterious.
Yeah.
So they can teach it to others, so they can explain it to others. Like that's their assignment in life.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you find that, it just totally excites you to do it, to do what you're born to do. Do you feel like that's your calling?
Oh yeah,
is to interpret and help people understand.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of in my everyday life because I'm in early retirement and spend very much. I have some alone time, if we say it like that. Mm-hmm. So I paint and draw, and I make miniatures and bind books and make jewelry and sculpt and all of that, like creative work, and that gives me incredible amounts of joy and happiness. Mm-hmm. But that's something that I do with myself, for myself. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one's. If you knew what I was looking at here, where I sit, there are so many things here that I made through the years. It's just littered. Mm-hmm. No one will see it, and I don't really. It doesn't really matter. That's not why I do it. But when it when it comes to Egypt, the first time I was introduced to ancient Egypt, I was about 13, 12 or 13, I think 13. And it was just instant love. I want to know everything, every single detail. I didn't know there was such a thing as Egyptology then. And I definitely thought I was never going to be able to study at the university, because I was didn't really pay attention in school and didn't do my homework. So I thought I was never going to have the opportunity. But there is like this conversation that we are having and have had. As soon as someone mentions Egypt, it starts to bubble. My head becomes just littered with information. Everything wants to come out immediately, and it frustrates me to no end when, like, I can watch a regular popular documentary about Egypt, and I love it because it's fascinating if it's good quality. I hate this.
If it's all crap.
Yeah, that doesn't
You
work.
just want to throw something to television.
Oh yes, and I've given up on that. I've also stopped having deep arguments with people on YouTube about it because it was fruitless. I don't read the comments anymore because it makes me so angry and so frustrated. I'm not angry at them, but the misinformation when
at the system producing it.
Yeah, and because like the questions you posed to me now, the answers you have been given previously, they are not. It's not lies. It's not just completely out of the blue. It's a mixture of that I think stems from not having the full picture. And I want people to get the full picture. I want them, I mean, I'm just me. There are, I know nothing about this if you compare me to the big players, the real guys, my idols.
But you know more than 98% of people, especially 98% of Westerners.
Yeah. Have you traced your ancestry back? If not, so where you may have heard it. I don't think so. We are extremely Scandinavian. I have, but at the same time, who knows? I have Viking ancestry. I know that much.
There was an article I read once about the Druids having schools in Egypt, because the Druids aren't Norse, but it was close in proximity.
Yeah.
But some of the Druids being sent to Egypt to teach at their schools and whatnot, and trading back and forth. So you might be surprised. And in Ireland, which of course isn't Scandinavia, but there was a pub in Ireland where the plumbing was broken under the pub.
Yeah.
So the plumber goes under the building to fix the pipes, and he digs up a skeleton. And this skeleton is from the Middle East.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
So there was a lot more exchange than we thought.
Oh yes. I mean, we went to the Byzantine Empire. We were down
you're guarding the King of Constantinople.
Yeah. Those Viking ships, they were what's the expression? Or the word? Not top of the food chain, but state of the art there.
Yeah,
State of the art.
Dragon boats.
Mm-hmm. These flexible,
Agile.
yeah. What's the
Agile and swift.
the boat body? That's the part that's in
Mhm.
the water. What's the word?
Well, it's aerodynamic in a sense, but it's not the air, but it's agile and swift and
Yeah, and
it's designed to be very, very quick.
Quick.
And to go up rivers. You can go in the ocean and a river.
Yep.
Like the Egyptians never went on the ocean, neither did the Romans, but the Phoenicians never went on the river.
Right.
But the
right.
the Vikings could do both. They didn't care.
Yep.
It's water. We're good.
Yep. Exactly. And you understand that when you come to here where I am, Sweden and Scandinavia, but Sweden particularly.
Is it the fjords? You say fjords?
Fjords are in Norway.
Okay.
But they are part of Scandinavia, so.
Those very, very narrow channels.
Exactly.
Steep walls.
That's
so you can't put a cruise ship through there. You have to be very. You have to be very agile, like a race car.
Exactly. The fjords were created during the last ice age. They go very, very deep and very narrow. Sweden is more.
Is it more flat?
Yeah, it's more flattened out. But we have a lot of. I don't know how well known this is international, but Finland is known as the land of the 1,000 lakes. But Sweden actually has more lakes than Finland has. And if you go back to, so the Viking Age starts approximately 800 or 790, what is it, 793 or something like that, 795, and goes on until the historical event that is used to mark the end of the Viking Age. Of course, in reality, there are no like this date, no more Viking Age.
Yeah, there was no email sent out to say, "Hey guys,
nope.
knock it off."
Nope. It's like you can't find Sweden when you're out flying by looking for the S.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Well, they say in America, we said there's no smoking gun in history, meaning a lot of the times it's just you just take as much evidence as you can and you guess. But they don't have these big announcements on this day, and even if they did, who knows if that's accurate?
Exactly, it's approximation, and there is room for and I think this is a problem that people in general have with history, and particularly ancient history and archaeology, where the written material starts to thin out. Because oh my goodness, what was I saying? You said something about ADHD. Was it you?
Oh, ADD. Yeah, I have ADD too.
Okay, I have ADD.
We're talking about your heritage, and there's a possibility that you might have some Egyptian heritage somewhere that's buried. And a lot of people like the Torah movement, like I am.
Right.
We don't know if we're Jewish, but we have a suspicion. We're so passionate about this. Chances are, somewhere way back, this was our DNA crying out to us.
Right, but I'm the only one that is this.
The only one in the family.
Yeah.
I think sometimes God just picks someone out. Like, people need to understand this, and I choose you to. I'm going to give you the passion and the intellect.
If that's the case, he chose like the worst person, because I up until a week ago, I hardly opened my mouth.
Well, maybe it's time. So I failed first grade. I failed 11th grade. I dropped out of high school.
Yeah.
I was in special education for math for 5 years. I was in speech therapy for 3 years.
Wow.
And
Speech
my school said I'm
therapy.
mentally retarded.
Really?
I also grew up in a town with no traffic light. It was so small there wasn't a traffic light, and there wasn't
You are
there wasn't a
definitely
shoe
not.
store for 2 hours. There's no shoe store for 2 hours. But I've got three degrees and went to 11 countries, and no one knows how it happened. But so if it's too easy, if it's too obvious, it's like, well, that makes sense. These human beings made that happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's no other explanation, then God made it happen, and so God gets the glory instead of your bank account or your parents or or your big brain. Because I mean, I can't multiply a fraction. I can't change the oil in a car. Can't pass a math test. But I can talk about this all night. It's really weird. It's like there's one part of the brain. God's like, I'm going to use that part.
That's
You don't have to be good at anything else. Just do that thing.
I start to think about what you're good at and bad at. As I said, I didn't fail school, but it was pretty damn close because I couldn't focus, and a lot of other
well, that's
I'm
the
happy not to
ADD.
be.
We can't learn things we're not interested in. Most people have a certain level of serotonin throughout the day that gives them pleasure. Like you do almost anything, you get a little burst of pleasure.
Yeah.
We don't get that. We have to really, really like something to get that.
Yeah, and
we have to earn it.
I can hyper focus. I've been told. I don't really think about it myself, but I've been told I when I really get into something, it's like laser focus. My issue is I can't remember things, except apparently from. I'm amazed every time I remember anything. I'm surprised.
That's the ADD.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that. But we get a reward. Our brain is designed to almost be the scholars or be the priest because we get rewarded for remembering these things. That general society only cares about like, okay, I got to get to today, make a paycheck today, and go home and worry about myself and my family, my town.
Yeah.
But there's a small group of people that are selected to be concerned about other things, like be concerned about the larger culture or about the religion or the nation. And those people have trouble with day-to-day things, but we remember these strange things most people don't care about. It's like we're like there's a great movie called The Giver where this one person is assigned to store all the memories from all of history.
Oh, whew.
But no one else has any memory of it, just him. And he passes on to someone else.
Oh.
So we're like The Giver. Look it up. It's a great movie, Jeff Daniels, but it's called The Giver. And it's like one person is assigned to remember all these things, all these terrible things that happened.
Yeah.
So everyone else can be happy.
Oh,
they don't remember all the wars and things.
Oh.
They don't remember pain. But this one person does. He remembers all of it.
Oh, what the horrible
on their behalf.
One.
It's really powerful. I put a link in there at DNAconsultants.com. That's a really high quality DNA company, and they can trace both sides of your lineage going back a long way.
Really? They don't need
DNA. Yeah, they go through both sides now, which for a long time was impossible. But DNAconsultants.com. The guy who founded that, he found out he's Jewish, even though he's Scottish and Choctaw Native American. He found out he's Jewish from 1,000 years ago, and he had to write a whole book about it. How in the world am I Jewish? I'm Scottish.
Yeah.
And he figured this whole thing where when Robert the Bruce took over, he made Scotland a safe haven for the Jews because King Edward's killing all the Jews.
Yeah, right.
And the Pope's killing all the Jews. He told them to come to Scotland because they kicked the Pope out of there.
Oh.
So all these Jews went to Scotland 1,000 years ago and no one knew it. So if you take 8 Scottish men, one of them is Jewish, and has no idea. So you might have some Egyptian way back. My family, my great grandmother, we always thought she was Cherokee. That's just the natural explanation in Tennessee. There is Cherokee, and her daughter insists, no, she's Egyptian. Like, how in the world are we Egyptian? We're the whitest people you've ever seen.
Yeah.
No, supposedly she's Egyptian somehow. Thomas Jefferson was from Lebanon or Phoenicia. They DNA tested
Really?
him, and no one knows how, but he's Phoenician. Thomas Jefferson, the founding father,
Yeah.
one of the founding fathers of America. So you never know, but
Sure.
DNA consultant. So either it's probably
If
your
I
ancestor.
am, then I had the best of two best worlds, because then I'm both Viking and Egyptian. That would be
exactly, and it might be so far back, your DNA just gets harder and harder to trace.
Yeah, probably.
But Egyptians, everybody came from that area at some point in history.
That's true. That's true. I might have a bunch of I probably have quite a lot of Neanderthal in me. Not because I'm I don't know what's the stereotypical
Caveman.
yeah, right.
No, there's a lot of theories about the Neanderthals that was even just that was a race, or that's a separate people group. A lot of those skulls are.
Have you
When
heard
people
about
get older,
Pebbles?
their proportions change. Like if you find a skeleton of someone that's 90 or 100 years old when they die, their skull is shaped like that because as you get older, your nose gets bigger and your ears get bigger.
Yeah, but that's the reason those particular parts of you become bigger is because it's not skeleton. It's not bone. It's
cartilage.
Exactly.
But your skull does change shape.
Yeah, it does. Of course.
To accommodate it. Yeah.
Of course. That's true. But not.
Yeah.
But have you heard about it's a guy called his name is Svante Pääbo. He was the Nobel Prize winner this year. And he's
you would be the expert. In Scandinavia.
Yeah, true. He works for the Max Planck Institute, and he's a paleogeneticist, I believe. He has mapped the human and this is not my area. Human and he has not mapped the human genome, but the Neanderthal and compared to you notice this is not my area. I am really lost for words how to describe this. So he has looked into how much our DNA differs and or is similar to, on which points in the genome we differ and how it looks. Blah blah blah. He was Nobel Prize winner. So anyone who is interested in ancient human, and I'm not speaking ancient like the Egyptians, but more ancient, and human evolution, human as Homo, the species Homo, should look up Svante Pääbo and his work. He's a really, really bright guy. I believe he has Swedish and Finnish ancestry. He's a cool dude. Cool dude.
Sorry, his connection went out. He'd be back.
How are you, Logan?
Good.
I'm feeling a bit bad for dominating this conversation. I don't want to
Oh, that's
take
all right.
anything away from you. If you have questions to oh my goodness, is it Bryan?
Yeah, Brian.
Bryan, yes.
Big Bad Mama's here.
Hi,
Big Bad
everybody.
Mama! Hi!
Deviant, I
Hi!
don't think you have to feel bad for anything you do on these channels. I think
hope not.
Yeah,
everybody
don't feel bad.
benefits from your wisdom,
No.
Yeah, I agree.
but that's just me.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
You make me lost for words.
Hi, Faithful.
Hi there.
Hi, Faithful.
Oh! Hi!
Hi. It's been so fascinating to just sit and listen to y'all talk. And I've got to tell you, it's been interesting. These are the type of conversations I really like to listen to, outside of biblical, of course. But I mean, they're really, really interesting. And earlier today, BBM, I think you mentioned doing something on geology. I think that would be amazing because they're the type of broadcasts that people can listen to and actually glean something from, instead of just kind of, I mean, just to talk sometimes is nice, but I like to be able to try to learn something. Not that I can remember it, but at least I feel
You
like
and
it's
me both.
educational.
Yeah, I
This
think
is
that's a good
Outcast.
idea too. I mean, I think there's like a place for just discussions, and then sometimes actually like present something.
Yeah.
You know, like Christian does when he's on this show.
Sure. And you were talking about presenting something on the creation of the Hawaiian Islands. I think that would be absolutely fascinating.
Okay, cool. It is
Um,
pretty interesting.
uh, Big Bad Mama, Outcast. Uh, Brian's internet went out on his laptop.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. He
Oh,
was
that's
so
too
yeah.
bad.
interesting to listen to. I didn't get on until late, but he was so interesting to listen to.
Yeah, I
Oh,
will he?
Outcast.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Could
go
I?
on.
It's alright if I give him your email address.
Yeah, sure. It's the yeah, sure, of course. I realized I never really answered his initial. I never finished the part I was supposed to. So that's do that. That's perfect. Oh my goodness.
It just sounds good to hear you. You sound so well. I
Oh
the connect when we were talking late that night. I don't know if the connection dropped or just what happened, but
yeah,
it's just good to hear you.
yeah. And I the last couple of days I've been not yesterday, but I was pooped. I've had days of really bad headaches, and I get those.
Uh-huh.
And
Are you
afterwards,
alright?
yeah, I'm today. I can still feel it a bit. Yesterday, I was completely. My brain was just like flatlining, and I get like that after I'm totally exhausted. And it wasn't that bad. It was only like 2.5 days or something. Sometimes it goes on for like 2 weeks. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's
Uh,
uh,
You have headaches for 2 weeks?
yeah,
That's
not this
tough.
time. Yeah,
Good.
I've had
I,
I once had migraine, constant bad migraine, all around the clock
uh,
for almost six days that were like 24 hours. I woke up several times a night from this like bolts in my head, like knives through my brain.
Oh my God.
That time I actually was a bit concerned and start to like, is it supposed to be like this? And then I spoke to my mom, and that didn't make it any better. I thought she was going to have something like, oh, that's no worries, because I know she had a lot of migraines. So I asked her, yeah, you have had a lot of migraines, right? And she's like, no, but I really remember you had. Oh, but that was because of my brain tumor.
Oh my God.
No.
So
That's not what you
so
want
it's
to
kind of
hear.
like,
No,
do
no,
I have a brain tumor? Right.
right.
You want to hear, well, maybe you should give up coffee or
Yeah, exactly.
Are you
Oh,
all
but that's
right?
because of my
Did
brain
you?
tumor. Oh, thanks, mom.
oh, that explains it.
Yeah. That simplifies life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Have you always had those, or did they come on after events and stuff? I'm not prying.
No,
I'm just
it's perfectly fine. I've had a lot of headaches all my life, or since I was like a young child, like preschool age. But it's become worse and worse and worse. And I think because the last couple of years, I have there are these nerves that go up, or what I call occipital nerves.
yeah.
And you have a couple of them on the backside of your head,
Uh-huh.
and it feels like someone drives like an iron rod
Yeah.
through the base of my skull in my neck, straight through the brain, upwards and out through the eye. And it comes like this. It comes from nothing. I can be completely fine, and this burst comes. And I think it's probably I've had a couple of accidents, 2 car accidents,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the first one. My neck. What? What's the word for kotor?
Is
Deviant.
it whiplash?
Yeah, but my neck got stretched out.
Mm-hmm.
So the vertebra
Mm.
Okay.
was parted in the neck. So my neck got longer. It's retracted, of course, over time. And this was like 22 years ago. It was 2001.
That aggravated it then, didn't it?
Sorry?
I said, and your headaches got aggravated after that.
Yeah, and more and
Got
more.
worse, more intense.
Mm-hmm. And the
Miss
last like
uh,
5 years or so, it's not good. It's really irritating.
uh,
I kind of hate it,
hope you're all
to be honest.
It's supposed to be completely debilitating. I mean, just talking to friends who have had migraines, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no words to describe the feeling, I guess. And so somebody who's never had a migraine has no idea of what that pain is.
No, and I wake up for a period of time. My wonderful, amazing, priceless. There isn't word to describe them. My friends gave me a new bed because I couldn't sleep in my old bed. I slept in the chair I'm sitting in now for 6 months because I couldn't sleep in my bed because it gave me such
priceless.
back.
Those were amazing friends to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's the first bed that's bought
Miss
for
Bucket.
me. Just me. I'm the only
Oh,
one who
how
slept in it.
sweet. I'm going to not have a bed that you can sleep on is probably one of the worst things in the world.
Yeah.
Miss Outcast. Brian said he emailed you.
Yeah, I heard a bing here, and it's something. Yeah, awesome. I got it. I will get back.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So
Good,
have
we
those
found a lot
headaches
of
gone
common.
away since you got the new bed, or they decreased?
No, but they have decreased. I don't get them because then with the old bed it was every single morning I woke up. I couldn't make breakfast for myself. I couldn't do anything for hours after waking up. And now those type of things only happens once in a while, like a couple of times in 2 weeks time maybe, which only is it's like a quarter of what it used to be. I still get headaches and but it's very different when you wake up and you can't function. You I can't even heat up coffee from the day before in the microwave, that sort of thing.
Yeah. A lot of times having a bad, when you have, it's the first time I've ever heard one with a neck and a headache problem. Usually when people have a mattress that has really outlived its existence, people wake up feeling worse than they did, and usually it's their lower back.
Oh.
And they wake up and it's kind of like, I can't hardly walk. I feel worse this morning than I did when I'd have been better not going to bed, and I went 1 year, I think it was a year. Well, I've had this particular mattress for a year, and I really want to replace it, but I went through 8 of them in one. I bought 8 different ones in 1 year because I'd have them here for about a week and a half, and it's like I feel worse this morning than I did when so okay, back to the store, and I can't tell you how much money I spent on them, but I gave the other ones away because they were brand new and other people just loved them. It's like, okay. Everybody joked with me about what, another mattress this year? I said, yeah, well, you gotta find one you can sleep on.
At least you didn't wear them out in the period of time you had them, so that wasn't the issue.
No, sleep on it for about 5-6 days, and that was it.
Yeah.
I don't mean to, BBM. I didn't mean to jump in and take over, but she mentioned that she likes to do arts. That you like to make things and crafts and stuff. Like what?
What not is the question. I paint, not so much painting, because it I don't know really why. I draw a lot, and I make miniatures. Have been my recent like deep dive fascination. So I've always painted and drawn since I was a kid. But then I have these periods of time where I have it's almost as if I no longer know how to hold a pencil, and no inspiration. But I still need to do something. I can't just sit. Something needs to be done, and I like to make things.
Yeah.
I don't like to buy things. I can see like someone else has done something and it kind of draws inside me. So I make it and I get to like figure out how something is done. I mean, I know nothing about carpentry or anything like that, but I've always been fascinated with these like tiny worlds that you can look into, and like tiny houses, and you can look into them and you can see something is going on there, and someone's left a drawer open or a book in. There is some sort of life, but no one's there, and it's really tiny, and that's always fascinated me. So, like a couple of years ago, two years or something like that, I decided to make my own miniatures.
So you make those like not from a kit or something. It's like you make them out of nothing.
I make.
I mean, you make them out of something, but you make them.
Like paper and wood and yeah, mostly paper and wood actually. Mostly wood. A lot of wood.
Fascinating.
Yeah, you should see. You should see. I have tiny plants here that I have made in recent days, and books. And I like everything. I want everything to work. And that's kind of an issue.
What kind of wood do you make it out of?
What's the English word? I'm gonna look it up.
Is it like a lightweight wood or because I'm trying to think. I'm not much about knowing different woods and stuff. BBM might know more about that, but I'm thinking it's got to be pretty thin, correct?
Yeah. It's. I buy
balsa wood.
No, I started in the beginning. I used balsa wood, but balsa is too light, so it doesn't really hold up. Plus, the fibers are too big for the scale I make, so it looks kind of out of. It breaks the not imagination, the illusion.
I'm thinking maybe you what's going through my mind is something along the line of a popsicle stick.
Oh, as I said in the beginning, I used balsa wood and popsicle sticks.
Popsicle sticks.
Pop.
Oh, they have popsicle sticks there. Oh, that's fascinating.
Can I show you a couple of doodles?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do it here.
Yes, I use wood that's 1 millimeter mostly thick. And it seems like the English word is lime for the wood. Let me see. I have to find back my way back to.
They're kind of upside down.
Those are your doodles.
There. Oh, cool. Oh, they look kind of
like abstract or something.
No,
that's not a drawing of
Aborigines. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was.
There's one you can kind of see.
Oh, look! The you can't see my cursor, of course. In the down right corner, the drawing the last one you showed, in the down right corner. There was.
What about it?
The figure there. It had me instantly think about Logan. I can't say why. I have no idea why, but when I saw it,
thank you.
Has he had some sort of some avatar that kind of looked like. I mean, I don't know how Logan, what he looks like in real life, but I don't know. Have you done
I've always
Mama's Boy?
doodled or drawn or painted for as long as I can remember.
You have.
Oh, geez,
What?
I'm not creative at all.
I
Have
don't
you
believe you
tried to be
because I know
creative?
you can crochet.
Oh, yeah, well, I learned how to play the piano at one time. I could play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in 8 different variations, and that's as far as I got.
Well, crocheting is very creative.
Yeah.
Kind of and kind of not.
I've done
Yeah.
it. It is a skill for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I I've gotten to where I have difficulty reading, and I just found out why. I've become pretty well night blind again at night
Oh,
over the
no.
last couple months for driving. I mean, for driving.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to get my eyes checked today, and I found out why I've got that problem. It's kind of like I've never had this problem before, so it was interesting. You know how when they do the eye exam and they have all these letters up on the wall,
Yeah.
and they've always been either fuzzy or clear or something. This time they had all these little lines and everything through them, and it's like,
Oh.
what did you do? Well, can you read this? No, and these letters are great big, and they've got all these lines going through them. And it's like, what's that? You want me to tell you what this letter is? It might be a C or it could be a K. It was the strangest eye exam I had ever had.
Is it cataracts?
No, I do. They said that the difficult. It's just an amazing challenge, you know. And they're like, you're taking this real good, and it's like, oh, why not? Have fun with it. But I do have some cataracts that just in the last year have like doubled. So
Oh.
whatever it is that's going on, and it goes back to 2 years ago in October of 21, I had a full cardiac arrest. So this is just kind of like, that was a fun night. I had more fun, but
Mhm.
seriously,
Really?
but yeah, really. I mean, I laugh about it. It was an adventure for sure. Uh,
So this is nothing compared with that.
oh no, no, yeah, it's minor. Well, and that was too. We've talked about some of the things that I've experienced, BBM, but that was too because I knew going into this, I no matter what happened, I was gonna live because Jesus told me He wasn't done with this body that I'm living in yet. So, that was cool. They thought I had an aortic tear. I thought I had a muscle spasm between my shoulder blades like I've had before, but this one just wouldn't go away after 4.5 hours. I finally told the people I'm staying with, I've kept you up. You got to go to work in the morning. Why don't you can either give me a pain pill and knock me out or take me to the ER and drop me off. So we're, I'm like soaking wet. It, listen, I laugh about it right now. It was miserable to go through, but it was kind of like, oh, it's just part, being 24 in a temple this old.
Yeah.
And 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 she says, well, you're going to the ER. I said, okay, not a problem. You go get dressed because she was in her pajamas, and my clothes were just absolutely soaked. I was freezing cold, and I put on this real furry, the warmest robe I had, and slippers and everything, and got a bucket because by this time I'm really sick, and I said, when you're ready, I'll walk out to the car. Well, here, let me help you. No, I got this. Just, it's like, we're driving up there. She says, "I'm sorry, it's late at night on 2-lane highway in the country, in the uh, city I'm in." And she's like, "There's this car in front of me. I can't go any fast." I said, "Never mind, not a problem. Don't worry about it. You know, just take your time. Don't stress. Just take and drop me off."
Take your time. I'm just dying
Yeah,
here.
right.
Don't feel like you have to
Well,
hurry.
the odd thing was, I've had like 5 heart caths before, and I mean, like more than a
Fine.
decade ago, and I'm laying there and I'm telling people I'm freezing. Just wrap me up and keep me warm. The nurse says, "I need to take your temperature." I says, "I can't hold my mouth still long enough." She says, "If you can't let me do it, I'm going to take it the other way." I says, "Go ahead. I don't care." she she never did. I don't think she wanted to. But they get me back from. They did what's that called, an MRI, not an MRI, a CAT scan, where they run a cat over your body to see if it, it's gonna scratch you. Anyway, and they came back. The doctor said, "We did that because we thought you had an aortic tear." I said, "No, I got a muscle spasm between. Can't you guys stop this pain?" and he says, "She gave us permission to take you across the bridge." And I'm thinking, who's she? You know, this is my body. She doesn't have my medical permission. It was crazy. Anyway, he says, "What we're probably going to do to you," and they didn't even tell me. He says, "What we probably are going to do to you is going to permanently stop your heart. What do you want us to do if it does?" And I'm thinking, huh, for me to live as Christ is gain, give me gain. And I couldn't get that out. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna open my mouth and you speak for me. And I looked at the doctor and I said, "Do whatever you want to, just don't put me on life support." And he said, "Okay." By that time, they wheeled me out. And I was excited. I was first, and I've never had an ambulance ride. It was funny. And they got me in there and got me all secured and everything. And went to close the door. I said, "You can't do that." She said, "What?" I said, "You can't do that. Nobody's here. I've never been in one. I want a picture or something."
Oh, you didn't want to be taken out of the
No,
ambulance?
I didn't want to take an ambulance ride without having a permanent record. I told her, I said, get your phone out. I said, "You got a camera on it. Take a picture of me." And I held one thumb up in the air. I saw that picture the other day because the lady finally, she sent it to me. And I just stuck it in my phone and forgot about it. I saw it the other day and I enlarged it. And it's like, oh, I look bad.
So somebody did get a picture?
Huh? Yeah, she took a picture before she shut the door.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm telling you, nobody had ever seen a patient in the hospital. Like, I was having a ball. I was laughing. I was cutting up. It was, yeah, not much different than what I'm doing right now, but it was funny. I, you know, if why be miserable? You might as well have fun while you're
Right.
Did the nurses like you, or did they think you were too perky?
Well, I really don't know, because the one nurse never did get the temperature taken, so I don't know how she was. She probably thought, "Oh, she's delusional or something." I don't know. I don't know.
That's great.
Anyway, I'm still here.
We are happy.
So now you're like, oh, just some night blindness.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to what I've been through.
Actually, no. I mean, there was several years ago, the doctors were diagnosed. This was 30 years ago. Doctors were working on diagnosing me with lymph node cancer.
Oh, gosh.
And at that time, the church that I was going to had a school, a Christian school, and they had a basketball team, and the kids all shaved their head for solidarity.
Mhm.
And
It's nice.
when he told me about this, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go on this adventure with Jesus and find out where it's going to take me. And I mean, I could be miserable about it, or I could have fun. And I decided, the chemotherapy, I'd have to shave I'd shave my head and walk in and say, I'm just joining the basketball team and have fun with it. I mean, if I'm going to be miserable, you might as well laugh,
So
Okay,
true.
so much for that, huh? Oh, the insanity of God,
But that's the thing, you need to.
CBBM, I'm not always dead serious.
Of course you're not. You're a hoot.
I've never heard you really, when you've been on a stream with me, you've never been angry or been serious. I mean, too serious, really.
Well, yeah, there are people. People have.
I mean, I've heard you on the other program being real serious.
Well, that night that I was talking to you, they felt like I was being way too intense. So it's like, okay, that's all right.
Oh, I'm glad you're all
Oh,
right.
thank you. Logan's the sweetest guy in the whole world.
I know.
And I'm so glad he's got his own channel now where people that really like Logan come in and we can just talk about serious things, talk about educational things, and just kind of laugh and have fun a little bit.
Everything.
Yeah, he's got a great channel and he's doing a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
I think out of all of the ones that I've seen lately, as far as channels, this one has got just a little bit of everything, including quad balls.
Oh, it's not a channel without quad balls.
Oh, no. His humor for me is a little bit hard to take at times. Yes, my darling.
Well, I thought, what if they built a machine that can make food from energy? What type of food would you like to make?
Something I can taste.
What would you like, Big Bad Mom?
So, can you say it again? Who's making food for me?
A machine that can make food out of energy.
Oh, a machine makes food out of energy.
Yeah,
what would it be?
Like on Star Trek?
It could be any food in the world.
Chocolate.
Oh, dark chocolate?
Ice cream.
62%.
Yay! See, you are my kind of guy. Although you're too young for me.
I'm a chocoholic.
Really?
Yeah.
What would you have, Miss Outcast?
Ice cream.
What flavor?
So much ice cream.
What flavor ice cream?
What kind? Yeah.
There is, I don't know if it's available outside of Sweden, but it's vanilla with there's a chocolate bar that's kind of, what's the word? You make it from cream and sugar that's melted.
Caramel.
Thank you. Caramel.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Caramel swirl.
No, but no, not. This is like hard, and it's covered in a thin layer of like milk chocolate. And there are tiny pieces of this, like.
Is it toffee?
6 millimeters. Sorry.
Toffee.
No. Toffee is that's not stretchy, but
taffy is stretchy.
Oh, you said something there.
Hey, Logan.
My grandmother and me used to make saltwater taffy, and you would get you would stretch it for like 6 or 7 feet. It would stretch.
All right.
But I
Like
don't
a
know if they make ice
taffy,
cream out of
not
taffy.
toffee.
Do you guys ever had fried ice cream?
What kind?
Fried ice cream.
Fried ice cream.
Oh,
Mm,
fried ice
Yeah.
cream. I haven't.
Fried ice cream is
how?
good. It's kind of coated in something, and they throw it in a
Like a deep fryer.
hot deep fryer, and then it comes out crispy on the outside, but it's still soft, but it's got to be pretty hard. Logan, what kind of food would you like to have the machine make for you?
Yeah.
McDonald's.
Did you say
Hey,
donuts?
wait a minute, McDonald's. Now,
McDonald's.
what McDonald's food would you want?
They're nuggets.
They're nuggets. Now, what kind of dipping sauce do you want?
Ketchup.
That's what I use for McNuggets is ketchup whenever I eat them.
Oh, you see, you gotta mix ketchup with ranch dressing.
You know, in Idaho, one time I went to an ice cream shop and they had trout ice cream and potato ice cream.
Oh
Now,
my goodness.
potato, I can see.
Trout.
A trout,
Yes,
that had to be a interesting taste.
Yeah.
I didn't get it, but it was listed as one of the types.
Hmm.
When I was in Idaho, I went to the Idaho Potato Museum.
Oh, okay. Yeah, potatoes are huge in Idaho.
But they actually had one. But on the side of the road was this great big giant potato. I mean, it was a giant, you know, it was, and somebody had actually built this, and
It was a sculpture of a potato?
well, it wasn't just a sculpture. They turned it into an Airbnb inside.
Wait.
You,
They did a
it's
museum
shaped,
out of a potato?
well, there is a potato museum, and I'm driving down the road because that's what I did, and it's like, potato museum, what the heck is that? And I stopped over there, and it was quite interesting. And but to see this giant potato on the side of the road, and I'm thinking, what the heck is it? And there was a walkway going up to it and a couple of little small windows and stuff. And so I looked it up, and it's actually an Airbnb.
Wow. When you first said it,
In the
I
US.
pictured something that was like 10 feet long or something, and then you said it was an Airbnb, and it was like, oh.
Well, it's not that big. It's about the size of a long travel trailer or something. Not as big as a mobile home, but like a 16-foot travel trailer that, and they made these accommodations inside it. I thought, that's kind of a unique place to stay. I don't think I want to stay overnight in a potato.
Was it painted like a potato?
Like a what?
Was it painted like a potato?
Yeah, it looked just like a giant potato. It was cool looking.
I wonder if it's still around.
I think so. You could probably Google it.
That's funny.
Right away.
Yeah.
How many potato museums can be? Potato B&B?
Devian, have you ever stayed in an ice hotel?
No, I haven't.
Don't they have them in Sweden?
There is one. I don't think there are several. It's called the Ice Hotel.
Ice hotel, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's in Kiruna. It's way up north.
I bet you could.
I've never
Right.
been that far up.
I bet you could find an ice solid hard bed to sleep on over there.
Yeah. From what I understand, they everything is snow and ice.
It's all carved out of ice.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They look beautiful. I mean, I've seen pictures of them.
And I would really, but I think it's probably quite a way outside of my pocket.
Budget.
Yeah.
Well, that would also be outside of my comfort zone because I'm laying on an electric heating. My mattress pad is electric, and it goes on a scale. It much better than an electric blanket because the heat comes from down and radiates up, and gets the back and everything warm. And the other one you get in, and it comes from the top, but the heat dissipates upward. However, it's on a scale of 1 to 12 for heat level, and it's up on 10. So I'm nice.
Don't bring that to the ice hotel.
No.
You'll get electrocuted.
Well, I'd probably melt the bed.
You have that would be an expensive trip probably.
Oh, I'm telling you, I don't know how I lived until I got this. I've had it about two months now, and I don't know how I slept without it. And even at that, I can feel my feet, and they're cold. So it just
Is it cold where you live right now?
No, actually, it's just me. It has to do with being in a temple that's around 8 decades, and I won't tell how around. So yeah.
But where you live, what is it at night? How cold is it right now?
Tonight it's going to be down around 30, but that's it's
That's not too bad.
No, it's just getting into winter. I'm actually in the Midwest. It's kind of Midwest Bible Belt area. Kentucky. I tell everybody it's Kentuckiana. It's Kentuckiana is 50 miles north and south of the Kentucky-Indiana border.
Oh, okay.
Because Kentucky goes Illinois.
Are you in Kentucky or Indiana?
I'm in Kentuckiana. I don't tell.
Oh, okay. Boy, I was just in Kentucky and Indiana. I wish I would have known you lived there. I would have come and visited you, like I tried to visit Father Charles.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'd have met with you. I don't live here. I have people that are they just kind of said, here, you can sleep here. It's like, this is your room, and it's like, okay, I don't have a room, but it's not really my room. She finally cleaned a closet out for me after the cardiac arrest. She said, you're staying a while. And I've got 2 drawers, but all their stuff is sitting around. I have a spot over here, and I moved a chair in, but everything else in the room is theirs.
Well, that's all you need.
Well, yeah, it's
bed.
not really my room, but I get to sleep here. and
It's funny.
The mattress was like 22 years old. No wonder why it was it sagged on one side, and the other side was okay until I slept on it for a while, and then it caved in. That's why I said, do you mind if I buy you a new mattress? This one isn't. No, go right ahead. They could afford to buy it because they've got their net worth. You would never know what some people's net worth actually is. They have a house down in Key West. They're gone like every other month for about 5 to 10 days down there.
Wow.
So I'm I kind of house sit for them, take care of the cats. So
do you have parties when they leave?
No. No, it's not a big house. It's just this back on a wooded lot, and it's your typical Kentuckiana 3-bedroom house that it was built probably 60, 70 years ago, and that they've done some remodeling on. And when they first bought it, I looked at it. It's like, you guys bought this, and they really fixed it up nice. And you go downstairs, and she made the comment the other day, people have to quit dying because we haven't got any more place to put their stuff. And I told her, I said, my friend like them and my family members and stuff, I said, y'all don't have to worry about that because it's all gone. If it's not in my car and a little tiny bit there's a few things down in that I keep over here because I need them as my summer and winter clothes, and the few things that are over my son's house, I said, there isn't anything left. So don't worry about it. You know. You don't have to worry about money or anything because I gave it all away. And besides, there's two people's. I don't have a bank account that's only got my name on it, and the car I drive has somebody else's name on it too. So when I disappear, nobody will, except for not showing up on live streams, nobody will know I'm gone. It's like they won't have to do anything.
Well, we'll know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, what happened to her? Yeah, that's not. Listen, that I'm gonna be around for about the next 80 years.
I really hope so. Because otherwise I got to know you way too late. And that's not okay. So I forbid it.
Well, we still need to connect. Do you use WhatsApp?
Yeah, right. I was I checked out this Google Meet.
Yeah, but
and
still
it seems that you need you can only use it with like a phone. So we would have to like call.
Yeah, but we'd have to know what time and everything. But people tell me, BBM, do you know anything about WhatsApp?
Not really.
Because my son used that for international calling when he worked for a company in the UK. And if you have that and if you use it, I had it on my phone, but I just, we probably could do that and actually talk because the people that I communicate with in India, not India, but Pakistan, she's saying, what's your WhatsApp phone number? And it's kind of like, I don't use that because that was just one more thing for me to have to learn.
Yeah.
That's why it's nice. Logan's amazing. He sends me a link, but if he puts the link in the YouTube, I have trouble getting on it. But if he sends it to me through Messenger, it just goes right through. It's like, if I don't have to think about it, it works.
Wow.
So thank you for sending me the link.
Great.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Logan. I'm going to go now, everybody.
It's been great
BBM, one second. I have a really important question. And it's a yes or no question. How is your little kitty? No.
What was that?
How is your kitty? Your cat?
Oh, she's good. Let me see if I can show her real quick.
Let me look at. Then I'm going to look at my phone.
I've been meaning to ask.
Tell me if you can see her.
Oh, hi. Oh my goodness.
What kind is she?
Goodness. Hi.
Can you see her?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
she's a good girl.
Yes. What kind of kitty cat is she?
She's a Siamese.
That's what I thought, but
A Siamese rescue.
Oh, that's the.
And she's the sweetest little thing in the world.
I bet that's her house and she lets you live in it. Is that right?
She's got a nice cat. Here's her cat house.
Oh, and she's the queen of the castle.
Right.
How sweet. Well, they have an indoor cat here and she owns the house.
Yes.
And she lets us people occupy it. And they got an outdoor cat that was a rescue that just showed up, and they're now bringing him in. And it's cold out, so they want him put down in the basement for the night. And when I carried him in, his claws went out because she doesn't want him in her house.
No.
Of
course.
Yeah. And she actually.
Yeah, my girl's the sweetest.
You could tell by that face that that's oh.
Yeah, she was a Siamese rescue. I got her when she was probably 4 months old. She was abandoned at a vet's office down in Mexico because I lived pretty close to the border.
Yeah.
So they coordinated with the Siamese rescue group in the United States. And so they brought her over the border and then had her at a foster parent. And then I called up because I saw a picture of her and I was looking to get a cat. And yeah, so
Aww.
she's about 5 years old now, I think.
Oh, how sweet.
He's still kind of a baby if she's only 5.
A little bit. And she just, gosh, she is so cute.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe I'm biased, but she is really cute.
She that face. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I could survive being her mom.
Does she
Too much.
do you have little things for her to chase around the house?
I have like, let's see here. So she's got these toys and stuff that she. Here's a little tube that she goes in. Oh, here she comes. Here's another little house that she likes with a scratching post. There's a bunch of toys over in this area, and then she's got all these kind of toys over in here.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh, she's your child, isn't she?
Hi. Oh my goodness.
Apart from that.
Okay, what's her name?
Snowy. Like, I named her after Tintin's dog, but I put an IE at the end of her name instead of a Y.
Oh, we won't tell anybody on the internet that BBM has got this sweet little kitty cat. It will ruin your image.
Stevie, you like Tintin, don't you?
Yes, of course.
I thought so.
Yes. He's the best.
I don't know who that is.
He was a European cartoon character, and I think it started in the 30s or 1940s, but I think he was from Belgium, and his name was Hergé.
Yes.
And he created this character, Tintin, who was a boy reporter, and he could communicate with his dog. And then he had these cast of characters and they had adventures all over the world. And I got my first one when I went to Belgium when I was 8. And I got one called, I think, Tintin and the Black Island.
Oh, yes, in Scotland.
And
they're
in Scotland. Yeah. And it was like I was hooked. So every year my mom would get me like 3 or 4 Tintins for Christmas until I had the entire set.
Oh, how sweet.
So you have all of them?
I had all of, I still do. Yeah, I still have all of them.
Logan, do you know about Tintin? Sounds like something you'd have fun with.
Oh. Sounds familiar.
Steven Spielberg made a movie about it. It wasn't that great of a movie, I didn't think, but it was okay.
It was
Did
nice
you like
to
it?
see something new, and it was definitely
right.
Like you knew the story, even though he had like woven together several of the different
yes.
albums. But I think the thing I liked most was the detail of the animation. So
they were just great adventure stories, and they were funny too. They were like comedic.
Yeah, I mean,
they were kind of like Claude Balls in a way. I mean, Claude Balls could have been one of the characters on Tintin.
Easily.
Are they available to find to see?
Oh yeah.
Like on YouTube or how?
Well, the originals were books, and so each one came in a hardbound book. I think they were. Yeah, I don't know where they were first published in newspapers or not, but they put them in these hardbound books, and each one's about 60 pages long.
Yeah.
And one is, their moon adventure, and then one they have a submarine where they go looking for buried treasure, and they land on a meteorite, and all sorts of weird things happen on this meteorite. And
Sounds like a good adventure from my local library.
Treasure. Sorry.
Wonder if our local library has those or has access to them. They got this amazing kids section, and then
I'll bet you they do. I'll bet you they might.
well, if not,
Tintin.
if not,
Yeah.
Have
Yes,
you
Logan?
seen this? The world, I think the first ever movie. I've got some Travel to the Moon, I think it's called. It has a
Oh yeah, it's
its
by
posters.
it's where the rocket ship goes into the moon's eyeball,
Yeah.
right?
Have you ever saw that before? Yeah.
I did. Yeah, it's George Melius, wasn't it? The director who made that.
I think
He was
so.
one of the first filmmakers.
Yeah. It's really old. It's like
Do you think
1910s.
Right. It was pretty amazing for its time.
Oh, yes.
was it the first ever movie?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know that for a fact, but I seem to think there were movies that were even a little earlier than that. I mean, they had those stroboscope or whatever those things were called, where they would show a series of photographs really rapidly, and it would look like it was a motion picture. I don't know what they were called, but those were real early.
There couldn't have been many epileptics back then with movies like that, because they are really flashing.
Right.
I think.
What if they were
sorry.
What if,
Go on, Logan. Go on.
What if they remade that movie?
The one with the moon?
Yeah.
Was that called Journey to the Moon or something? Or
Yeah, I think or Into
I think
the
you can
Moon.
watch it on YouTube, actually.
And you're in it. You play in it. What do you think?
I think it'd probably be pretty cool.
What do you think of that? Mrs. Outcast.
What I was searching for Journey into the Moon.
Journey into the Moon. What year was it, Deviant?
There is a lot about the moon landing.
Kean movie. You put that as part of your search?
Of course.
I don't know where that came from because I don't do.
Oh, they have done a new one. Journey to the Moon. No, a trip. There is a movie from 2008 that's called Journey to the Moon.
Well, that's just the movie called Moon, right?
No, it's called Journey to the Moon, set in 1940s England. So it's not the classic Journey to the Moon. Nej. 1959, Journey to the Moon. This, sorry, 1902.
Wow.
1902.
They made movies in 1902?
Yep. Le Voyage dans la Lune.
He was a French filmmaker, right?
Yeah. I don't speak French.
Melius?
But yeah. It's like the two E's have it's called accents.
Right.
The little, like you
the
put between I and M in I am. Those over the E's, but they are in different directions.
The accents are?
Mm-hmm. One is
Oh, I didn't know that. What's the difference? One's a major accent and one's a smaller accent, or
yeah, I think so. So one kind of leans left and the other one right. Wait, the other way around.
Most
Melier.
accents go to the right, lean to the right instead of the left. That's interesting.
Yeah, so the
I wish we had those two dots that they have in some of those languages. What is
like
it, an
Swedish.
umlaut?
Yeah,
Right.
and umlaut, yeah. Right, umlaut. That's 2 dots. We also have a circle over the A, like in O. O.
Jeez.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I picked the avatar thing.
Oh, right. You wrote, but why?
Yeah.
Oh, I can, maybe I have to. Huh?
Hey, congratulations, Logan. You got the avatars fixed this afternoon. You didn't have them.
Yeah, good job,
Yeah.
Logan.
But where is
Thank you.
In fact, I think I was on my way out of here at some
Well,
point.
you
right? What,
you were happy eating or
I had
whatever
to
you
show
were
my
doing.
cat.
Oh.
yes. Finally. Snowy. My
Well,
new,
if you've got to go
my
take
new
care of
kitty.
her, thank you. I'm glad you joined us, and I'm glad I jumped on too.
Yeah, thank you for
Yeah, me
joining us.
too.
Right, definitely.
Oh my goodness. Oh
What?
my goodness. What? What? Hi. Hi, kitty. Oh my.
Oh,
That
I looked at
baby.
the camera. I looked at the screen. She's looking at the kitty cat.
Yes. Oh.
Do you have do you have a Facebook page for her?
No,
The people.
she's private. She's a private.
Well,
Yeah.
the people I'm staying with, when he started working from home during COVID, the house cat became his assistant, and she would sit next to him, and he started posting pictures because you had to do something during COVID, you know. And so she had her own page, and he'd post a picture a day where she was helping at the office, and she'd be up at the keyboard and stuff, you know. It was just natural shots. And now they have the assistant, and he's called the old guy, and the assistant is a male, and he likes to go out to the shop, and he's all over he follows him around like a doggy outside.
Right.
Like dogs will follow. This cat does that, and they're working on a car, and he's down there on top of the engine or up underneath the car and stuff like that. And he said that he's really a shop cat because he likes beer, hot dogs, and pork rinds. Out of the beer can, he licks off the what's on the top of the beer can, and kind of like, well, maybe I would pour him a cup, a teaspoon or something, and so he does in a cap or something, and then he'll put down pork rinds and gives him pieces of hot dogs. He'll eat whatever he eats, and he comes. It's cold, so he's retired now. So he makes eggs and goes downstairs. The cat's sleeping down there, and when he goes down with his breakfast, he leaves a couple pieces, puts it on the floor, and the cat cleans up the plate.
That's great.
They had his mother over the other day, and we had a beef stew, and he looked over at his wife, and he said, "Would it be all right if Bo licked the plate?" And she said, "I don't care." And it's a big plate. He licked on one side of the plate, and when it was clean, he walked around instead of walking across. Walked around and sat down and licked the other side clean.
It was
He's
gonna
funny.
get chunky.
cats are so funny. You know, and
I say they are the best. The best.
None of us were cat people, and I'm not a cat person. I'm just not a pet person.
What?
But I'm not. You know, if you have to dust it, feed it, or something, that's just too much work. Changing a litter box.
That's what I told Snowy, but she's not buying it.
She's like,
Yes. Well, you know,
like, no, feed me.
Yeah, first thing in the morning if you're late. Yeah, right.
Oh, she meows when she wants some food.
And does she let you know when her litter box needs cleaning too?
I clean the litter box every day.
Oh no, I mean changing.
What you mean, change it completely?
Yeah.
Well, I get the clump stuff, so you don't have to change it that often because it all clumps up in a ball.
Well, you know, they kind of do that with this cat too, but she wants it changed once a week because she will sit down there and holler and beller if it has, if it's not the way she wants it, she'll walk downstairs and she'll just sit there and stare at you and then look at her box and look at you. And
wow. I'll just add completely new litter.
Yeah, new litter.
Cats can be very particular. They know what they like and what they don't like.
Oh, I have to give her particular food, that she likes, and I just stick with that food until she gets sick of it, and then I try to find something new.
Oh,
dry food,
that's
food.
difficult to find something
wet
new,
food.
even if they are like, this old, I'm not gonna eat that.
Right. Dry food, they're not as picky, but the wet food, she's pretty picky. She wants salmon and tuna.
Is it the one with like saucy, where it's mostly water?
It's pretty liquidy. It's called Sheba, little Sheba.
Yes.
Sheba.
Yes, I know
you
that.
give her the gourmet kitty cat food. The cats over here get Rachel Ray.
I wouldn't. I give her the best.
Yeah.
They get Rachel Ray and they get fresh tuna every day. Not fresh
That's
tuna.
nice.
But it's canned tuna, and they go through a can of tuna every other day. And the indoor cat, if it's not fresh done, she kind of licks around it and leaves it until it's fresh the next day out of the can.
Of course, I mean, I wouldn't want to eat like some old food that's been just lying around the house. And
oh no, I mean, this is put out there a couple times a day, but I'm talking, you open the can of tuna, okay, and the second day she doesn't want it the second day.
Oh, it's old. It's already
It is
dead.
gross the second day, though, I have to say. I would not want to eat. I give her one of those things in the morning and one at night, and I give her fresh water every day. Because they like to have fresh tasting water too.
Yeah, that water is often. I know many cats are extremely particular with the water.
Right. And then I give her. Oh, go ahead, Byan.
No, go ahead. I was going to say this house cat here, up until the time she started getting older, would not drink out of her bowl. She wanted to drink out of his toilet. So nobody is allowed to use that toilet for anything except the guy. If it needs paper, you have to use the other one. And she got to where she fell in it one day because she's just getting older. So we put a dish down for her, and she finally decided she would drink out of that. And she'll go over there and she'll lay down for about 5 minutes and drink out of it. She lays down and drinks water. All right, enough for cats. I'm gonna let y'all say goodnight because I'm gonna try to wrap it up.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
It's 4 a.m.
Oh,
wow.
Geez. Gangster, thank you so much for hosting this.
Thank you, Logan.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
guys for
Logan.
coming.
You're
good talking to you.
Thank you.
Faithful and Deviant.
Yay!
And it's good talking to all of you. And I really enjoyed listening to Bryan. Is that his name? So
Yeah.
tell him that. Tell him people came on, after he left because they were having such. I didn't want to come on because the two of them were having such a interesting conversation. You just don't like to come in and it might break the flow. So I don't want him to think on my end that I didn't come in because he was here. I just didn't want to interrupt the conversation. So
Yeah, that's the way I was. They were having such a good conversation that I just was happy just to listen to it. But
right. So
Were
Gangster,
you
I
able
thought
to
maybe you'd
follow?
let him know. I wouldn't want him to think, well, gee, they came on after I got off or something like that. So
I don't think he's probably worried about it.
well, yeah, he does. I don't think so, but you never know how people think. So anyway, listen, thanks for everybody talking tonight.
Thank you. Were you
Bye,
able
everybody.
to follow? Was it? Could you grasp anything? Just
Who what?
When me and Bryan, did I make sense? Is my question.
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
good.
you made sense to me, but that doesn't mean much.
It does to me.
When I was
I beg
listening,
your
it made
pardon.
sense.
Good.
Listen, email me your WhatsApp number.
Yeah. No, you are not.
And I will get with my IT guy because he's well familiar with that, and I'll see if I can't call you through that because that's like a phone call, and we'll be diligent of the time change and so forth. Although
Yes.
the way you sleep, it doesn't really make a
You
whole lot of
never
difference.
know.
Yeah,
I
but once I get my number to you, well, then you can always shoot back this way.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. Listen, y'all are amazing. Good night. I'm gonna
You too.
leave now. Good night, Logan.
Me
I love
too.
you. And my friends, sleep well and stay safe. I love you.
You too. Love
And
you.
that's everybody in here, but that's kind of what Logan and I do every day.
Oh, thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye
Good
thank
bye.
you
night.
for coming
Thank you
on.
all.
Bye.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for hosting, Logan.
Thank
Good night.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Thank you. Bye.